up? I don't know if you can hear that, but that was a little bit of Ray Charles, and there's a reason I played that. George on my mind, very much. What's up? So I thought I would spend a couple of minutes giving a quick election update. I've got some questions from folks based on the first two panels we've had about where I think we are, et cetera. So I'm going to start with my conclusion and work backwards from there. I still maintain as of 12:35 today that Vice President Biden will be the winner of the election. I think it's going to be, I think most folks know, super close based on the counting that's happening. Actually, 30 minutes ago, there was supposed to be a big tranche of votes coming in Arizona, which were favorable to the president out of Maricopa County. But then the Biden campaign believes that in the next 3 or 4 hours, there'll be another continuing batch of votes, which will switch and be favorable to the Biden campaign. So I actually have a few flyers to show, which the campaign put out today, just so folks can get the sort of official word as to what they're saying. So give me a second, and I will pull up those flyers that came from the campaign, which go through some of the states and what they see as Trump's legal strategy, which they don't expect to be successful. So just give me 1 second. I'm going to pull them up now. Actually, here they are. So I'm going to share my screen so you can see the flyers that the campaign put out. Okay, so here's the first one that the Biden campaign put out today. I hope you can see it. If you can't see it, let me know. You can also call into the Zoom link and just drop me some words in the chat. Open discussion. If you'd like to just hop on for a couple of minutes, I'll be done by 1 o'clock. Okay. So here's the first slide that the campaign put out. One, the campaign believes that they're going to win the election, which I do as well. The election is coming down to, as you all know, several swing states. And here's the update on where the campaign thinks it stands. So we're talking about Wisconsin, Nevada, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Arizona, and Georgia, and North Carolina. So these slides were put out in the last 30 minutes by the Biden campaign. All right, so in Wisconsin, what they're saying is they're up by about 21,000 votes, and they're on track to win the state. There was some back and forth, there's ongoing back and forth as to where the votes are coming in terms of different counties in Wisconsin, but the Biden campaign believes that they're going to maintain a sufficient enough gap. The numbers may not be 21K in the end when the counting is done, but they feel pretty confident about that. Nevada is much closer. Right now, it's Biden's up about 8,000 votes, which is, in terms of, as far as I'm concerned, as a Democrat and someone who wants Biden to win the election, not the most comforting margin, but it is a margin. They have much more votes out there as well. And if we have time, I'll try to pull up for those states the particular counties where the vote still remains. So just so folks have a real clear sense of that, if I can in this session. If I can't, I'll do that in a future session. Michigan, I had some anxiety yesterday about where we stood in Michigan. The campaign is saying that they're up by about 12,000 votes and on track to win. In fact, they're saying where we are now is Biden won Michigan. So they called Wisconsin to win, Michigan to win, and Arizona win. Now, Pennsylvania. So the last count I saw, Trump was up by about 600,000 votes, maybe a little less. That number might not be exact, but a substantial margin to lead some to believe that that's insurmountable and that Trump will win the election. The Biden campaign is actually saying that there's 1.4 million ballots left to be counted, and that trend should go 2-1 or 3-1 Biden, because talking about a lot of mail-in votes, absentee ballots. And as you know, most Democrats voted by mail and or absentee, and most Republicans voted in person on election day, so Tuesday. So that is why in many of these states, the Biden campaign feels confident, even when they're down just a bit in the current count, that when all the votes are counted fairly, by the way, that they will win most of these swing states, and that includes Pennsylvania. Arizona, again, no change. The campaign believes they won. The state was called for them. Two other states, Georgia and North Carolina. I just played a little Ray talking about Georgia. Those two states are clear toss-ups, although Trump is actually pretty far ahead in North Carolina. So I personally don't expect Biden to win that election. But Georgia is a very different scenario. They're looking at a couple of counties right now, DeKalb County, Fulton County, and that is a very heavily Democratic, two Democratic counties where, again, the Biden campaign feels, even though right now Trump is up, I think right now about a couple of 100,000 votes, and I'll show you those numbers in a second. I have the website pulled up. They feel that at the end of the day, the Biden campaign feels that, as you see here, it leans to Biden. So they're not saying it'll be overwhelming. They're simply saying that it leans the Democrats' way, even though it'll be tough. And I got to say, guys, if that happens, much credit to one woman, Stacey Abrams, who ran for governor and came within, I think, 2 or 3 points and lost that election based on voter suppression. Brian Kemp took that seat. She then didn't, give up. She started a fair fight and an effort to register a couple of 100,000 Democrats across the state of Georgia. And if this goes Biden's way, even if it doesn't, the fact that it's so close is a real credit, literally, to Stacey Abrams and her team at Fair Fight. Very impressive. So I'm going to talk about the legal strategy that Trump is engaging in before going to the state by state look. And again, this is from the Biden campaign. So quite frankly, I think the president and his campaign is very aware, one, that it's a super close election, but two, that they'd rather be in Biden's position because, again, there's much, even though right now Trump is up numerically in some states, we're not done with the counting, and it continues. So the Trump team has chosen a tack of using the courts a little late in some of their staff members' view, or actually, sorry, in the president's view. I hear today he's upset that they didn't engage in legal maneuvers before today. But anyways, their strategy is to use the courts to, depending on the state, stop the count or continue the count. And so that's inconsistent, but it serves their purposes, but I don't think it'll be successful. So you see they intend to, number one, file disruptive suits, regardless of the merit of the matter, because it doesn't matter. Because right now, remember, we're talking about counting legally cast ballots. So when he talks about fraud, et cetera, that's a bunch of BS and a bunch of crap. And it's a way to basically cast doubt on the election. So here's some more detail about the different suits: Georgia, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. In the Georgia lawsuit that the Trump campaign's filing, I'll just read this here so it's clear. In Chatham County, the Trump campaign alleged that 53 late arriving ballots were mixed with ballots received on time. Evidence that a Trump observer is suspicious that something happened when he left the room. That is the evidence for filing that lawsuit. If that isn't the definition of flimsy, I'm not sure what is. Michigan, I didn't finish Georgia. So they're requesting that Georgia County separate any and all late arriving ballots. Key point, that's already happening. So this is, quite frankly, a meritless claim out of Georgia. Michigan, the Trump campaign filed a suit alleging that their inspectors should have been given access and to witness the ballot collection from drop boxes. The campaign is saying it was completed by trained election officials, and there's no basis in law for the claim, which to me makes sense. Second suit out of Michigan by the Trump campaign, or an ally, says here, filed suit alleging that mail ballots that won't scan are being improperly duplicated. The entire process is public, according to the Biden folks. open to observers from both parties or any party and the media. So again, the campaign feels that suit, the third suit, won't succeed. Finally, Pennsylvania, the Trump campaign are filing what it says to be multiple suits in Pennsylvania, which makes sense if their strategy is to stop the count while Trump is ahead in Pennsylvania. And the Biden campaign is saying they're suing over immaterial matters and trying to take this to, or they're intervening in a Supreme Court case where, funny enough, they're already representing the state party. The intent here is to stop the count. The governor of Pennsylvania came out, Tom Wolf, he came out this morning and last evening saying these suits are not going to stop the count. The AG said the same, Shapiro out of Pennsylvania. So these are all Democrats, but they're saying, regardless of our party, the count will continue. And the Biden campaign believes, again, in the end, once all of the votes are counted in Pennsylvania, that they will win. Possible? I think so. So that's essentially where we are. So I'm going to go shift back to the map to go through where I think things stand. Okay. So this is ABC News map. All right. So when it comes to Nevada, as I mentioned, Biden is up by about 18, or I guess that's less than 18 now, 88% reporting. That's that's about 11,000 votes in Nevada, according to that count. Arizona, another swing state. You see Biden with 86 reporting. They're up about 70,000 votes. And again, like I said, most of the votes today came in from Maricopa County, and it leaves Trump down still 70K, which is why the campaign is confident in the call. By the way, Fox News called and the AP called Arizona for Biden. Apparently the Trump campaign was not happy with that call. And there's apparently video of some campaign staffers calling into Fox News and kind of yelling at them. So I got to look forward to seeing that video. Let's shift from the presidential campaign for 1 second to the Senate outlook. So there was some hope that the Democrats would take the Senate this round as to have a, as to help, number one, quickly confirm Biden cabinet officials and the ones that basically the party wants, progressive left. There's a theory that Mitch McConnell is literally saying now that because the Republicans are likely to keep the Senate, that they're not going to approve any nominations that, quote, are from the left flank of the party for the cabinet. So some names floated in that space are Susan Rice, Stacey Abrams, and other sort of rising stars, which, again, the voting here is so critical and important, particularly in these Senate elections, because if Biden becomes the president and we keep the House, which we'll likely do, and we don't have the Senate, that just literally shifts what then President Biden could do in terms of passing laws and a real stimulus package in terms of coronavirus, in terms of building on the Affordable Care Act. So it's really critical that we win the Senate. I'm hoping that we figure out a way, and it looks like it's unlikely. And then we got to wait a couple of years. That to say bluntly sucks. So let's look at a couple of seats. I'm pretty upset about the main election. I really did thought that Sarah Gideon would pull it out, but she just, with 99% reporting, didn't pull it out. She was at 80,000 votes down. That's just a big gap. It's almost 8.5%, 9% of a gap. That was one that I was pulling for very strongly. It didn't happen. North Carolina, similar story. Tom Tillis, the incumbent senator, looks like he is going to hang on. There's 7% more out. So we'll see both whether Trump holds North Carolina and separately, but related, of course, whether or not Tom Tillis hangs on to his seat. Folks were pulling for Cal Cunningham. Folks may have seen the news that Cunningham was in a bit of a scandal in the last month or two of the race, where he engaged in some behaviors that his becoming of a senator. And nevertheless, he got pretty close, but I wonder if that hurt him. Georgia. So there's 2 seats up in Georgia. There's the Purdue Senate seat and the Loeffler seat as well in Georgia. And this only shows me one of them. But anyways, in the Loeffler seat, she's the incumbent. She was appointed to the Senate. She apparently is up. I don't have the numbers here, unfortunately. But anyways, she's headed to a runoff against Reverend Raphael Warnock of Ebenezer Baptist Church. The church might sound familiar. That election is, I believe, in early January, as is the runoff, I think, for the Purdue Ossoff seat. So if Ossoff, if Purdue drops below that 50% threshold, that will be a runoff. So there's a guaranteed 1 runoff between Warnock and Loeffler, and there's a possible runoff in this Purdue Ossoff seat. I think Democrats in Georgia, we got to keep the pedal to the metal. I think turnout may drop in the runoff, but I think hopefully that drop, if it occurs, only occurs in the Republican side, because we got to, we didn't get Maine. There's a couple of other Senate seats we'll talk about in a second we didn't get, but we really want to get 1 or 2 of these seats in 1 or 2 of the runoffs. So I'm hopeful that one, we win Georgia today, and maybe if we win Georgia on the presidential level, maybe that gives Ossoff enough coattail. I'm not sure. There's a bit of a gap there between Biden's vote count and Ossoff's vote count. So we'll see. What else? Congratulations to Mark Kelly, who is the senator-elect from Arizona. That is John McCain's former seat. So that's one pickup. We also picked up a seat in Colorado. Former Governor John Hickenlooper won. So that seems to be a gain of 2 for Dems. Unfortunately, Alabama, we lost Doug Jones. Not a surprise, tough state. He barely won that election a couple of years ago against someone who was accused of some criminal activity. But he just 60-40. That's a pretty resounding defeat. So that's 1 for 1 in terms of Arizona and Alabama. Then we pick up net 1. I think we need to net 3 to take the Senate. We didn't get Maine. We didn't get North Carolina. So really, we got to really Democrats to put our energy and focus on winning the 2 seats in Georgia. Thank goodness that Gary Peters in Michigan hung on. He won. James was up the last day, and fortunately, Biden won Michigan, as did Peters. He had some struggles in that race, but he did hang on. So just showing you some of the other Senate races that Democrats picked up. So anyways, that's the Senate outlook. Here's some of the evidence that I was talking about earlier of Mitch McConnell planning to screw with Biden if he wins. His transition plans, GOP Senate wins wreak havoc on Biden transition plans. And they just really talk about, how Mitch McConnell and the Republican majority can screw with Biden if he becomes the new president. So here is some commentary from Axios. So they say it could push Biden to go with more centrist options. I do not know those people. I think I know Tony Blinken, actually. But anyways, those are apparently more moderate or centrist options for Secretary of State or Treasury. Some of the progressives, and I agree with them, are pushing for Elizabeth Warren, although she was appointed, that her Senate seat would be in jeopardy in terms of, because there's a Democratic governor, Charlie Baker, and he'd appoint the replacement. So I know that putting Warren in Treasury, even though it makes sense, politically it's not smart. We can't afford to lose a Senate seat. As I mentioned at the top, Susan Rice, Stacey Abrams could be casualties of McConnell. Susan Rice, who was National Security Advisor, was going to be nominated for Secretary of State under Obama. McConnell in their party killed her potential nomination. So that's unfortunate. which is doubly why we've got to work very hard in Georgia for the 1 or 2 runoffs. It's going to be pretty important. So that's kind of where we are. Here's just get back to the map. We expect a lot of votes to come in and today and show us where we land in Arizona and Nevada. And as I mentioned, Biden feels confident in both of those. Pennsylvania, the Biden campaign believes they'll close that 2% gap again as all the votes come in. And if that happens, there won't be a debate about who is the president-elect. I don't expect us to win North Carolina. Georgia is definitely possible. So potentially we could pick up Georgia, maybe Pennsylvania, Arizona, Nevada. So in other words, Biden's got more paths to 270 or more than that than Trump does. Trump has to pick off, if he gets Pennsylvania, he's got to get either Nevada or Arizona, and he's got to hold North Carolina and Georgia. So he's got to kind of run the table, whereas Biden has a bit more. When I say a bit, I mean a bit more flexibility. So that's where we stand as of right now. Yeah, let me just check and see if there are any questions, because I've been getting some of them in terms of who I think will win, and folks who are expressing some anxiety, etc. So no questions right now. Someone said the link wasn't working. I'll post the link afterward. I use a website shortener, so maybe it didn't work. But anyways, that's it for now. I'll come back later on with additional thoughts. Again, the critical states remaining are Nevada, Arizona, Georgia, North Carolina, Pennsylvania. And again, the Biden campaign feels confident in Nevada and Arizona, even though they're close, 8K in one, 20K in the other. They feel that Georgia could come through for them once all the votes count, particularly in the Atlanta metro area. And they feel that Pennsylvania could also go their way. So to go back to where I started, even though I feel the roller coaster like most folks do, I do feel like this is an election that Biden will win, and we'll see. The question is when, assuming there's no screwing up the vote count, and I don't think there will be. I don't think any of the legal strategies by the Trump team will work. And again, and that's mainly because we're talking about legally cast votes that have to be counted. So there's no basis the campaign believes to stop the count. All right.